Okay, so right now what we're doing is we're using our mural cloth because we're using the mural cloth for a lot of the complex designs, so we don't have to paint on the actual standing on a ladder. So for all of the complex faces that have a lot of clothing and wrinkles and details, we're going to paint on the mural cloth and then we're going to install it at our location. Really simple process. We just cut the mural cloth, we're going to prime it, and then we're going to use our projector to project the image on the cloth, and then we're going to start painting today. So today we're doing 3 panels, and everything is going smooth so far. We got our white primer. We're about to prime it.
Eric, where did you find parachute cloth?
Oh man, I think we ordered this from Ohio, from one of the biggest distributors of this type of material. But this is like the industry standard for doing murals, so you don't have to be outside in the elements. You could be, painting on your desk, in your studio, and all of the murals that are done, a lot of them are traced. You project and trace. So it's just easier to do it at your studio than to be on a building. And not to mention, sometimes when you're on the ladder, it's not too comfortable. So we love to work in the studio when we can.
Gotcha.
We love outside too.
And inquiring minds want to know, have you ever tried to use the parachute cloth for its namesake, parachuting?
Listen, that's the first thing you do, is you take a little bit of it and you jump off a few stairs, maybe 3 just to see. But it's just a name.
Why don't you tell them the story about how you tried to do that when you was younger?
Yeah. There is no parachuting with the parachute. Yep. Oh my gosh.
So Eric, what is this step in the process? What are you doing right here?
Right now I'm just projecting the image on the wall. Usually if you don't use a projector, you have to do a grid. But the grid can take anywhere from 3 times to 4 times longer. You would do squares so you can keep everything in proportion. But right now we're just using a projector. It makes everything go good. I just trace it, and then it's like paint by numbers. And then when I finish filling in the basic colors, I do my blending. And that's the final stage. And when I finish this, then we install it on the wall. This is super relaxing too. You want me to get a picture? Okay, 3, 2, 1. Yes. And the video. Alright. Okay. Do we need to clip it, or can we just stay?
We're going to do it the same way, brother. Unless you know another way. The only reason I don't like using duct tape is because these are residual. Okay. But this is what we got.
How long do you have to leave these up here to dry?
It's probably going to take anywhere from 15 minutes to, at the worst case scenario, an hour. 15 minutes to an hour. This one is dry already, so we can start tracing this.
Is there a particular process to the drying that makes the process going easier, or just this drying?
If it's a sunny day, then it'll dry in like 5 minutes. Those UV rays.
So Eric, you said that you're gonna paint the ballerina.
Yeah. It's just that she has gold ornaments, so the gold doesn't pop out.
Oh, so that's what the
white. So that's why
you know exactly what I was asking. Okay, got you.
Yeah. That's the reason why.
Eric, can you tell when someone who's painting a mural hasn't used this paper or not? Like when it's freehand?
Oh yeah, you can't even tell.
Can't.
It's seamless, man. Like, unless you examine it really close, but like right when you finish applying it, you would go over it with a layer of paint on the seams, and look how thin this is. It would be impossible to see if you can zoom in. Mm-hmm. It's like a good wallpaper job. You can't see the seams on the wallpaper.
For those who don't know, who are you tracing, Eric?
Oh yeah, this is Queens rapper Sweet Tea. One of the first, women out of Queens. Had a nice little underground following. Yep, from the 90s. We're gonna educate people out there give them a little history lesson.
Do you remember the first mural you ever traced?
Yes, the first mural I ever traced was actually something that was at Jamaica Hospital. It was in the children's ward, and we did a bunch of it should be still there to this day. It was Disney characters, Sesame Street, and yeah, it was really cool. The last thing I traced was at the Chinese consulate building, and I did the children's room, and I did that last year. Hey, yes. Oh my goodness, yes. Man, this is the stuff that makes an artist so happy. The bigger the canvas, the better. Okay, once you start putting colors on these things. Yes, Queens Legend, Sweet Tea.
When you're doing at this level, tracing to put on a larger scale, do you trust yourself? Like when it's the first one you do, like let me just put it on the wall and see where I go? Or do you, when you're first starting out, do you color it here? Like do you do multiple traces just in case you mess up? Or do you trust yourself as an artist?
Pretty much trust myself. Like I have a lot of people who, came up under me and they didn't understand the process. So when they're tracing, they're freaking out. They're literally freaking out. Oh my gosh. And I said, we traced it. It's correct. The image is traced. You're not freestyling it. It is traced. Now it's a matter of putting the colors. And by the time they get to the third color, it falls in place. And you're like, wow, I respect the process. But it's a big jump to make from lines to color and finish. But remember, once you trace it, it's there. It's the exact image. You can't go wrong. It's not like we went and made up our own trace line. So you just got to respect the thing, respect the technology, and follow the colors. and it turns out fine. Yeah. This is going to look really cool.
After painting murals, Eric, do you, some people go on vacation, they have photo albums to remember stuff by. Like, how do you remember your murals?
Oh man, the pictures are everything. Some of my art friends used to be like, why do you take so much pictures? It's just that when you look at the pictures 5 years from now, not only do you have great memories, but you can see the improvements that you've made. And it's great to have all the memories recorded. Some of my murals, and some of my art, I only have them on Polaroids. It was before the digital era.
Gotcha.
So I have to scan those before they deteriorate. Yeah.
Did you ever get into graffiti at all?
Oh yes, yeah. I used to be running around, doing my little graffiti thing. Never did a train though.
Okay.
But I hit a few walls.
Is graffiti considered an art form now versus like?
Yes. Like graffiti is actually they have it in museums now. It takes a long time. Sometimes you gotta convert people.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, these people are using spray paint and they're spraying on all types of surfaces, and it's illegal, and they're looking out for cops while they're doing it sometimes.
True.
So yeah.
What was the longest mural you ever worked on, like the process from beginning to end?
It was a personal mural that I did at my art gallery because I painted almost all the walls, and it was just, but that was a passion project.
Okay.
So that took me like 4 months to do
Oh.
because I did detailed characters around the whole art gallery.
Okay.
But this is actually one of the biggest projects because of the amount of panels, and it's a huge. It's just a lot. It's 15 panels, and with different subject matter and different, portraits always take a little bit longer to do.
Yeah. You find yourself painting or constructing art more so that people understand, or for you to be understood?
Mostly it's for me, but there's a lot of people like me. So they'll see the story or the narrative that I'm trying to tell through my art, and they'll immediately connect and say, hey, is this what you're doing? And I'm like, yes. And they'll immediately, it's like they were in my world, where they knew me since I was a kid.
Now, does all art have to be understood?
No. some of the best art is when you don't know what the person was thinking. And you try and figure it out.
Oddly enough, this question has a little bit in principle to do with Camille Brown being a dancer, but in the dance world, it's kind of underground known that, hey, a ballerina may not be the best hip-hop dancer, or the hip-hop dancer may not be the best ballet dancer. Is that the same with painting? Like, could you paint a house a flat color, or
yes,
it does transfer that
yeah,
way?
Actually, I actually had an interior painting company that I ran for a few years, and whenever I got a chance, I would show people some of the mural work that I did and some of my art, and they would have me do some creative things in their house.
Okay.
But yeah, house painter, it's an art to it.
Okay.
There's an art to it, like cutting and having the edges straight. So respect on all ends.
Indeed.